Good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us on DinamoTV. It is our 59th episode, our 21st this year. My name's Tonchi Prusats, and I'm going to be with you as usual over the next hour or so. And tonight we've got a really big show. I say it every week, but tonight especially. And here at St Albans Dinamo, we are a very, very proud Croatian community-backed club. We are a soccer club, we indeed are, but we're also a community club. And tonight we're going to celebrate one of those parts of the Croatian community that is just all about positivity, all about culture, and that is our folkloric element. And over the weekend we had the Croatian Folkloric Arts Festival, and the president of the local Croatian Folkloric Group, Hrvatska Zora, or translated Croatian Dawn, ADRIANA Dorinko, will be joining us a bit later on. And her family has got direct contact or connection with Dinamo. We'll find out a little bit about that connection that lives on through the second and third generation of Australian Croatians. We'll also be speaking to our first team goalkeeper, MARKO BULIC, who last week had a perler and was named in the NPL Team of the Week. Last week, the team, of course, drew 2-2 against the then league leaders Heidelberg. And over the weekend, another 2-2 result in a highly entertaining game against the old rivals, South Melbourne. We'll catch up with Marko a little bit later on in the show, and he'll be talking about that. In addition to that, we've got all the news from the weekend. There were some games that were washed out. We'll find out about that. And we'll also find out about the senior women's big win on the weekend. We'll also hear from their assistant coaches, Ilya and Shaka. So stay tuned for that and a whole lot more on today's episode of DinamoTV. Folks, don't go away. Here's a word from our major sponsor, the I&D Group.
The I&D Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. I&D partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials, along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, I&D now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The I&D Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backed soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St Albans Dinamo Football Club in 2024.
Yes, it's time for the news desk, and on the weekend it was was it 2 points loss or 1 point gained? It certainly was an amazing fight back from our senior men's team in their big NPL clash against South Melbourne. Here are the highlights, and your commentator is Neil Simon.
Could see South Melbourne climb into ninth, whereas a win for St Albans would put them ahead of South Melbourne in the race to avoid the drop. 3 go down this year in the NPL Victoria. It's a grudge match. It's a relegation 6-pointer. St Albans will kick us off. And McFarlane looks to play the ball long. Franco with the backwards header. Potentially claimed, but here's Jack Pope. Bonata. Mells forces it out wide again for Robbie Harding. Harding takes it onto his left. Short for Payne to Andrews. The interplay quite solid. Bonata, good first touch. It's forced for Mells. It's Bonata cutting onto his left. Shot blocked. Payne to Andrews now. Shapes one in towards the back stick. Mikola, it touches nine kindly for Mells, and George Mells scores for South Melbourne Hellas. He scores when he wants. Against Croatian sides, George Mells provides the opener. Mells back to Lampard. I'm not entirely sure what the intention was there from Mr. Lampard. James Exidius is going to try his luck now. Dandenong City, James Exidius, of course, was formerly of there as well. What a neat ball from Mells, and it's Mikola who finds his way through. Max Mikola, yet again! A man rejuvenated. The knee slide to boot, and shows the Dinamo home fans that a bit too much talk might lead to action. For the Max Mikola exerting his influence. McFarlane eventually looks to get it wide. Evans scuffs the clearance. And now Harding. He lost his footing. Space. Lucas Burns. Mills. Breaking down that left flank. It's back with Lucas Burns. He's got time to deliver the all-important ball. It's a nice little 1-2. Lucas Burns inside it goes, and it's all the way towards Mikkel Platz, who gets the go-ahead goal for St Albans Dinamo. Tricky mix gets on the score sheet, and they are well within a manner of them to equalise potential. Absolutely crazy. Exidius. Sharon. Dragicevic. It's space. Sipiridovski. Evans beaten towards the byline. Oh, there it is! You quite can't write scripts like this. It's Lucas Burns with the stoppage time equaliser. Somehow, I don't know how, but they have. O'Sullivan, long throw. Will try his luck again. The delivery's fantastic. Can it fall? It doesn't. It's out of play. It's full time. St Albans have rescued a point against South Melbourne. It's Lucas Burns and Mikkel Platt with the goals. Mells and Mikola were there for South Melbourne. And the relegation fight continues.
And Lucas Burns with that heart-stopping equaliser in the dying seconds of last weekend's match, last Friday night's match, earned himself a call-up to the NPL Team of the Week on the back of MARKO BULIC earning a spot in the NPL Team of the Week, the All-Star Team of the Week last week. This week it was the turn of Lucas Burns. Well done, Lucas. Let's have a look at the results of last weekend's games. 6 out of the 7 matches were played, and the only game that wasn't was the Melbourne Knights Oakley game, which was postponed after that. Melbourne copped that deluge over Saturday night onto Sunday morning. But there are the results, and as you can see, Dinamo drawing 2-2 against Hellas. It gives us a point. So we're still in fourth last position, precariously close to the drop zone, but at least we've kind of skipped clear of third-placed Melbourne Victory, Port Melbourne in second last position, and then the Knights, of course, in last position at the moment. Hopefully both Dinamo and the Knights will be able to get out of that dreaded relegation zone, and the bottom 3 teams getting the chop at season's end. Have a look at the fixtures. Well, we've got a tough game this week, but guess what? Anything is possible because we're certainly the underdogs, and no one is expecting us to do well at Avenger Park. But all roads do lead to Avenger Park this Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m, the kickoff against the league leaders, Avondale. Alrighty, moving along now to the weekend wrap-up. So the seniors, as we saw, drew 2-2. The under-23s won 2-1. Well done to the under-23s, Coach Tuna and the crew there. And the under-19s drew 1-1. And Coach Ian Burke tells me The team ended up with, I think it was 6 under-17s in the on the field at the end of this game. So well done to the under-19s, doing exceptionally well there. The women's recorded a massive win against Pascoe Vale, 11 goals to 0. Well done to the women. What a result that was. And all of the junior boys NPL games on Sunday against the Whittlesea Rangers was called off. Well, let's hear from the assistant coaches. Tom Pondeljak, the senior coach, he wasn't there on the night, but we get a chance to hear from Andrew Shaka Rasu and Ilya Radosh after last weekend's game. This is what they had to say after the emphatic 11-0 win by the Dinamo girls.
How did the game go, boys?
Yeah, 11-0. Great performance by the girls, especially in that first half. 8-0 up, and then we made a few changes as well. Gave girls different positions to play, and Tommy will be pretty happy with the performance overall.
Girls?
Yeah, no, it was just good to see that we had multiple goal scorers, and all the girls had a run, and it was great to see that Steph Bovrick also made a comeback from her ACL injury that she was out for about a year. So great to see that she's joined the team again, her debut back after injury. So yeah, really good performance by the girls.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Overall, I think getting Steph back, the girls were actually cheering her on, made a big difference. But we're going to get some tougher games coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're getting our fitness up, and I think we'll be looking stronger at the next part of the year.
No worries, thanks, boys. Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, well done to well done there to the two coaches and to all the women's as well. 11-0 win, fantastic effort there. And here's some photos from that particular game. Congratulations to the senior women's team. As we can see there, I think that ladder hasn't been updated, to be honest. So it's 5 wins and 1 draw, 1 loss. So Dinamo should be on 15 points there, just 3 points behind Uni Hill Eagles. And I think it's only one team that gets promoted from this competition. It probably will come down to the game against the Uni Hill Eagles later in the year as well. This weekend, Dinamo coming up against the Spring Hills Stallions. That game is to be played this Friday night at Springside Recreational Reserve, Friday the 13th. Well, it might be Friday the 13th, but it's certainly, we're hoping, is not going to be Friday the 13th for our girls, rather maybe the Spring Hills team. It's a round 8 fixture and kickoff is at 8 p.m. So if you're in the area, in the vicinity, pop down to Springside Recreational Reserve, support our girls as they go on a quest for another big win. The boys, as we said last week, all of their games were cancelled. Well, not cancelled, postponed. So this week, the 14s, the big Croatian derby down in Geelong, and that'll be finished in time for the Sveti Ante Misa happening later on that morning, 11:30. This game kicks off at 9:30 at Alco Park. The under-15s travel to Moreland City. The under-16s and the under-17s travel to Avondale to take on the Avondale FC team. And that brings us to the end of the news desk. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll hear from the senior men's team, NPL team, goalkeeper Marko Bulic on his performances over the last 2 weeks.
Marko Bulic has been doing his homework. He's been watching the highlights. He was aware to what was going on.
Corner comes in near post. It's flicked on. Straight at Bulic there again. Well, half an hour left to go. Headers it down. It's kept in by Dow. Squares in on edge of the box. Yokokawa shoots. Good save. The follow-up. Good block by Mills. And what a save by Bulic there.
It's his first game of the season for St Albans. He's come in under a real barrage from Heidelberg, especially in this second half. He's made it.
And that was last week's performance against Heidelberg that earned our next guest a nomination in the NPL Team of the Week. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome to DinamoTV, Marko Bulic. Marko, well done. Congratulations on last week, first of all. That was a great achievement. It was your first game sort of starting in the starting 11. You must have been absolutely wrapped.
Yeah, look, happy to play, obviously, but just happy to help the team any way we can. Yeah, points better than no points, especially against like a hard team like Heidelberg. They're probably one of the best we've versed. So, yeah, just to come away with a result there is good.
Now, speaking of Heidelberg, I mean, at the time they were near the top. They were doing really, really well. And you managed to take a point or take 2 points off Heidelberg at Olympic Village. And it hasn't been a happy hunting ground in recent years for Dinamo there, Olympic Village. But that must have, going into the game against South Melbourne on the weekend, it must have really given the team that little bit of, I guess, tonic that they really needed.
Yeah, look, we touched on it before the game. We said, look, last week the effort was huge. Obviously, it's easy to get up for the big game. South's a big game. Heidelberg's a big game. But it just shows we can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league. So there's no reason why we can't back up that effort and win the games where we should be winning and challenge for the games where people write us off. So it's all right.
And speaking of South, that was a game in itself as well. Like, it had all sorts of thrills and spills and action. And look, they were leading 2-0 at one stage. But the boys managed to rally back. And what a comeback. And look, Indian drawing. But here's a little bit of footage where you managed to save the... so what was it? It was a great free kick. And, take us through that. That must have been really hard because your views probably obscured a bit by the wall. And the way the guy kicked it, you really had to react very, very quickly, which you did.
Yeah, look, I think he's used the pitch a lot. It was nice wet, so he's thinking keep it low. Hopefully I spill it. Someone gets a nice easy tap and rebound, but you're just lucky to hold on to it, I guess. We do a lot of work in training. It's always on that pitch. It's always dewy at night, so we're quite used to it. But, yeah, just do your job and hopefully it all works out.
Yeah. Now, how have you been? Look, what's the mood in the dressing room? I mean, 2 fantastic results against 2 tough teams, Heidelberg and South Melbourne. We would have loved to have won the game against South Melbourne as a real 6-pointer, but look, drawing against them, not a bad effort. This week, it's a tough one. Avondale, top team at the moment, away, Avenger Park. I guess we're the underdogs. There's no doubt about that, but it's almost a case of we're going there Saturday afternoon, nothing to lose. Is that how the boys sort of see it at the moment?
Yeah, I think, look, we're taking every game week by week, which is good. We obviously went through that bit of a rough patch where we didn't get as many results against teams that people think we should be beating or at least doing better against, which was pretty average. And we owned it. I think we owned it in the dressing room. Everyone knew it wasn't good enough from the people who were and weren't playing. So I guess that's very good for our growth. And then, yeah, like I said, against Heidelberg, shows you can go toe-to-toe against anyone. So I think we've got that belief now and, like, just leave that back half of the season behind us and we get as many points as you can and that's all you can do.
Yeah, now, look, the restructure at the end of the season, there's still talk that the bottom 3 are going to go down, but we're at the moment in 4th last position. Now, if it stays like that, great, but you obviously we need to start picking up points, and I guess it starts against Avondale, and if ever there's going to be a time to cause an upset, it's definitely this week. What can we expect from the team without obviously telling any tactics or anything like that? But what can we expect from the team going forward in the next few weeks? Just a never say die attitude, or what can we as fans expect?
Look, I think against South, we were obviously going into that game. I think everyone in that change room, everyone sort of around the ground wanted to, well, not expected us to win, but you need some points there. And then going 2-0 down and then coming back 2-2, one of the last kick of the games, show some brilliant character. I think that gives you a lot of belief. I think going up 2-0, like you said, against Heidelberg, gives you a belief that you can go up against good teams and you can hold on against good teams. But if worst case scenario, you can always come back against good teams as well. So I don't think really Avondale maybe were the only team at the start of the season that sort of played us off the park. Obviously, fourth last isn't where we want to be, and I don't think our football reflects that either. I think we should be there's a couple teams I think that we should be on top of, but we're not, and that's just our wrongdoing. But yeah, against Avondale, all to play for. We're not going there and expecting like, oh yeah, game, just tick it off the list. We're going there. We expect 3 points from every game we play.
It's interesting, the last two games. So against Heidelberg 2 weeks ago, we were 2-0 up. They managed to get us back to 2-2. And then against South Melbourne last week, we were 2-0 down and we managed to get it back to 2-2. My tip is it's going to be a 2-2 draw against Avondale. I don't know how, I don't know what, but yeah, I'll take that getting a point. Mate, thank you so much for joining us on Dinamo TV. Always a pleasure chatting to you. And thank you once again, and all the best for us Saturday.
No worries. Thank you very much.
All the best. All right.
Cheers.
And that was MARKO BULIC, the senior men's NPL team goalkeeper, joining us here on Dinamo TV. Tough game on Saturday against Avondale, the league leaders at Avenger Park. We've got nothing to lose, and we're going to go there looking to cause the boil over of the season. And I'm sure the lads are capable of doing it. Don't go away, folks. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll continue with tonight's episode of Dinamo TV.
Westar Prestige is a proud family-owned second-generation business servicing Victorian motorists for more than 50 years. We are a specialist prestige collision repair facility situated in the western suburbs of Melbourne. However, we service all regions of Victoria, with many of our clients travelling not only from around Melbourne, but all of Victoria to use our services. We are also able to provide a digital platform for quoting clients' vehicles who are unable to personally attend our premises. We are an authorised manufacturer approved repair facility for Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Peugeot and Suzuki, and are proud of our ongoing affiliation with these brands. We also work closely with several of Australia's largest insurance brands who entrust us to be a part of their preferred repairer network. Our client support staff are always happy to assist clients from the initial process of lodging claims through to the final stages of collection of the vehicle on completion of repairs and post-repair. So remember, for all your prestige collision repair needs, consider Westar Prestige, an award-winning, long-standing, Australian-owned business.
And welcome back to Dinamo TV. And over the course of last weekend, we had a massive event down here in Melbourne, and it was great to see our own club, St Albans Dinamo, playing a rather important role. And that we're talking, of course, about the Croatian Folkloric Arts Festival. And to tell us all about that, the president of Hrvatska Zora, the Croatian Folkloric Group here in Melbourne, in Sunshine, ADRIANA DORINKO joining us. ADRIANA, good evening and welcome to Dinamo TV.
Welcome, Tonchi. Welcome, everybody. How are you going?
Very good, and thank you so much for being a part of this week's show and coming on Dinamo TV. But yeah, look, it was a huge event for those that were lucky enough to get a ticket, and for those lucky enough to come along to one of the many parties. And in true Croatian fashion, we certainly know how to party. How, from your perspective, how did the Croatian Folkloric Arts Festival go down?
Honestly, it was just phenomenal. Like there's just no words that can describe what these 3 days meant to us.
Mm-hmm.
It was, as they all say, neopisivo, unforgettable. You know, it all started off with 380 folklorici and tamburaci coming from around Australia to get together for this arts festival. It was just like I said, unforgettable.
Now, Dinamo as a sporting club and as a main, a big player in the local Croatian community has been very, very, I guess, heavily involved in the folkloric side of things as well. A lot of our members, a lot of our volunteers are on the committee. We've had Hrvatska Zora and other Croatian folkloric groups often performing at many of our functions. So we're very, very proud of our background, very proud of our heritage. But how did the idea of a folkloric arts festival first come about? And I believe this is the third edition that was held last weekend.
That's correct. Yes. So it first started many years ago with Lardor Perth in Western Australia. They started it off, and in saying that, the Croatian Folkloric Arts Festival happens every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Perth started it off, and then it was Adelaide, Lennox, and then it was our turn. So myself, Berislav Vidakovic, Robbie Špoljar from Hrvatska Zora, from HFA Zvonimir Springval, Natalie Klafuric, Kata Jurivic, and from Mladi Hrvati, Clifton Hill, was Kata Markov and Bella Peric. So that was our team for this entire 3 days. We started off 14 months ago. It was just so exciting to get this underway. The logistics behind it, everything was just ginormous. And as everyone can see over the weekend, we pulled off an unforgettable 3 days.
Yeah, and
I'd like to also say, honoured to be a part of these three groups. Being from Melbourne, obviously we all do the same thing. We all push for, for our folklore, for our love of folklore, and just absolutely beautiful people to work with, and we're excited to keep sticking together and doing great things together in the future.
Yeah. Now, later on in the show, we're actually going to have some footage from the festival closing out the show. But in the meantime, we've got some more footage here. And it all started on Friday night at Dinamo, at our very own club rooms, with the launch party. I guess you could call it the launch party. And it was the first of many, many parties to come over the course of the weekend. We've got a little bit of footage here. But, take us through how it all sort of started on Friday night at Dinamo.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole idea of spreading this out between our clubs,
there you can see
these clubs, but to show everyone that folklore is still strong. Not only are we keeping our culture and heritage alive, it's also about, Croatians being together, having fun, making forever friends. And it showed this weekend that the love of folklore is still going strong, and we showed that this weekend. As you can see at Dinamo, it was just amazing. I'd like to thank Ilya and the team for putting on such a great event, from the food to the drinks to the tent outside. We did a meet and greet with all the clubs from around Australia that attended. We had about 500 or more coming through on Friday night. We did some songs together. As you can see, the caller was literally going out the door. There was no room for any of that, but we still kept going until the late hours of the night. It was just amazing. In saying that, I just wanted to include just the other groups as well that attended that night at Dinamo, which was CFE Lardor WA, HFS Lennox Adelaide, Braća Radić Sydney, Domovina Sydney, AHFG Linjo Sydney Mladi Frankopani Sydney, and HKUD Lardor Geelong as well. So as you can imagine, 380 performers in the club rooms was just, and you know what? It just gave you goosebumps. It was just amazing.
Now, it's amazing because you look at that footage and you really, really see a lot of younger members of the communities, the second, the third generation, probably, I guess, in some cases now we're moving into the fourth generation.
Yeah, definitely.
But, Dinamo, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, and we're paying homage to the past, to a lot of the past founders, the co-founders, and all of that. And we'll talk about that because you've got a real strong family connection there a little bit later on. But it must be really heartwarming. Apart from the fact that you're bringing together such warm, lovely, kind-hearted people, but you're bringing this love of Croatian culture, of folklore, to second and third generations, and it's being carried on. That must be such an amazing, amazing feeling.
Oh, it really is. Can I tell you? And that's not only on behalf of myself, but many of the other, obviously, people that have been involved in folklore for so long.
Yeah.
From, your committees to your teachers, to our members, hats off to everyone that puts in their time and effort to make these things happen and keep going strong. It brings tears to our eyes, especially this weekend. Looking at all those kids just smiling, having a good time, it just means the world.
Yeah, and the showpiece of the night, I guess, was the spectacular concert on the Saturday night at the National Theatre. Tell us how that all went.
So the National Theatre, that was in St Kilda, that was at 3 p.m.
Yep.
Again, as I said, we had the 380 performers coming through. So, yeah, the logistics behind that was massive, but it all worked out well. The kids were so excited. And as you can imagine, a lot of these generations haven't performed on a theatre stage.
Yeah.
So the excitement was overwhelming. Everyone was just, you know what, all the dancers were absolutely brilliant. Everyone performed so well. We had, I think, 700 tickets sold at the theatre, and so the crowd was amazing. We also had Rubbish Bulliard as our MC, legend. It was just, I can't tell you, it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, incredible, absolutely incredible. Everything was sold out. We just saw some footage there of some of the littlies backstage getting some food, and that was catered for by one of our Croatian community.
Correct. Yes, that was by your private chef. She sponsored that, actually. She sponsored that part, so that was amazing. She made enough food and bought enough drinks for 380 performers, and only great comments for that. I also wanted to say, actually, we had some comments that night of the theatre, especially people who don't, folklore in the theatre, it's not as common, but a lot of people were saying that it brought back Deseti Travan.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was really lovely to hear. Yeah, a lot of people were in tears talking about that sort of stuff. So
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we'd love to hear that.
And I know, bringing back Deseti Travan and some of the early Croatian statehood dan državnosti concerts when they used to be held outside of the Croatian clubs, and used to get a lot of people criticising, well, why isn't it at the Croatian club? Why isn't it at the Croatian club? But taking it to a proper theatre and getting some of these first generation people who'd never been to theatres coming to these theatres was an experience in itself, I guess. But you did do both. You not only took it to the absolutely fantastic theatres like the National Theatre, but you also had the after parties at the Croatian clubs like Dinamo, like Sunshine Catholic Centre, like Melbourne Croatia, the Social Club. Tell us about the after parties.
Oh, I tell you what, we had to be very quick getting out of the theatre so everyone could, get to Sunshine on time. Also, in saying that, I'd like to thank Veličanstveni Dino and the new committee there at Sunshine, who are absolutely amazing. We all put on a great show there. Can I tell you, over 900 people in that sala. It was, again, I can't use that word enough. It was phenomenal. Can I tell you, Major Minor got onto that stage and those young people just flooded the dance floor. And us oldies just stood back in tears, goosebumps, just watching that. A lot of the parents were like, oh, we can't get on the dance floor. But I tell you, people were dancing in the hallways, wherever they could fit. It was just beautiful to see.
Good Lord, Adriana, I'm going to have to pull you up on that comment there. I mean, we're of the same vintage, and calling us oldies, goodness me, the oldies.
Well, I call myself an oldie when I see all those youngs on the dance floor. It was just what it is about.
Yeah.
And they did not stop. They just kept going. And we also had sing-alongs at the back of the hall, and it was just an amazing send-off.
Amazing, phenomenal, extraordinary. These are just some of the adjectives, some of the words being used to describe. But I'm going to ask you a question. It's probably going to be such a tough question to answer, but I'll ask it nonetheless. What stands out as some of the highlights from the weekend? And don't say everything, but
yeah. Well, I was going to say I can't fault not one little bit, but obviously, sharing it around our clubs, which I thought was just, a great idea. Like I said before, it also it gets the others. everyone else that's around the clubs too gets to see how important folklore is and how much love we have for it. But I must say, obviously, the theatre was, one of my favourite bits, because I've danced on the theatre before with folklore too, and I know the work behind it. I know the love for it, and it's just that thrill of it all. It's you're dancing in front of a silent crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the spotlight shining on you, and the people backstage and the dressing rooms. It's just, it really is an incredible experience. Now, look, your own family, you've got some very strong family connections with St Albans Dinamo, and your late father-in-law.
Sorry, can I just finish off just with the after party?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, yep. So once we finished off there, it was late hours in the morning. We all had to wake up, and I just wanted to thank Monica and Melbourne, Croatia, for putting on a lovely after party event, which was a beautiful buffet. They had a disco for the young kids as well, which was also for the old Tonchi too. So we all enjoyed it. Everyone was sort of in the club room and in the beer garden, sing-alongs. We had musicians pulling out all their,
instruments,
and we had DJ KT from Sydney, Tomislav Kvesic, a new harmonica player who's just absolutely brilliant. And that's what I forgot to mention for the Friday night. Robbie Spoljan and Sam were amazing too. Oh my goodness, they rocked the dance floor. And thank you to Major Minor for Saturday night as well. It was just, brilliant.
Yeah, sounds like it was a really, really good weekend.
It really was.
And I guess the downlight, the low light, is the fact that the weekend actually ended.
It actually ended, yes. And we were. I don't think anyone moved on the Monday.
Yeah, the only negative. Yeah. And maybe Melbourne's weather could have come to the party a little bit better, but that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Melbourne Knights Oakley game was cancelled on Sunday night, and that would have been just an absolute fantastic way to end it all. But we came along to the party.
Yeah, absolutely.
We managed to draw against Hellas, and that wasn't too bad. But speaking of Dinamo and your own family connections, your late father-in-law Marko was one of the original players, one of the original goalkeepers for Dinamo, and your husband as well. He's been heavily involved as well. Tell us a bit about the continuing involvement at the club, and tell us a little bit about the Dorinko connection at Dinamo.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, when my late father-in-law migrated to Australia, obviously at the same time with, with his other Croatian friends. That was that whole concept of, obviously, as you all know, being together and wanting to be together as Croats, and that's how it all started. My father-in-law was a soccer player. His brother was, Mate Dorinko, was the goalkeeper. And my mother-in-law's Zdenka was also the first treasurer.
Oh, there you go.
I worked in the kitchen, and I think, even from when speaking to my father-in-law, I know that was so important to him. Even the stories that he spoke about just the unity, these were his best mates, and they were for forever. And playing together was something that he lived for and he was proud of. In saying that, also, then it obviously stems down to the other generations. My husband as well and his brother played soccer at Dinamo as well when they were younger. And then moving forward, my daughter as well, who played for Dinamo under 16s and then for the seniors, and now my son who plays for the NPL team under 14s, with my nephew Max Dorinko as well. So there's just so much there that, you could never let go of. And I know that even with this 50th anniversary, he'll be smiling from heaven, and he will be so proud to see that, this has come such a long way, and hats off to Dinamo and everyone else that's involved, keeping this strong and keeping it going. It's just amazing. And can I say also, one of my memories too, obviously, unfortunately, when he passed away, his mates, his original team from Dinamo had made a huge guard when, they were taking him out of the church, and that was just absolutely beautiful. And it just shows the love and the passion that they all had together. And, hats off to all of them.
Yeah. It might sound a little bit sad, but it's not. It's actually quite very, very, I think one of the things we all want to do is leave a legacy for our kids and their kids. And I think that's
Absolutely.
certainly something that Marko did and all of those pioneers did. And that's something that we'll be celebrating with our gala ball on July the 12th. Before you know it, that's going to come around and that's going
Oh, we can't wait. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Yes.
The party just continues happening, and fantastic. Adriana, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations once again to you and to all the other organisers. And it is, can I just say, I think on behalf of the entire Dinamo family, it's just great to see that things are finally going good for Hrvatska Zora.
Well, thank you so much.
It's just absolutely great to see.
Thank you so much. We're so happy, and we're happy to move forward and just keep doing what we've been doing for the last 32 years.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely brilliant. And thank you so much once again for coming on DinamoTV.
Thanks, Tonchi. Thank you, Dinamo. All the best.
Bye. ADRIANA DORINKO, the president of Hrvatska Zora, an organisation, a community organisation that is very, very, very close to all of our hearts, and certainly one that Dinamo as a club, as a soccer club, as a football club, as a community club, works very, very closely. Folks, we're going to take a very short break, and when we return, it'll be time to wrap up tonight's episode of DinamoTV. Don't go away. Tell you what, I reckon they should play that commercial just before the senior men's and the senior women's come out onto the pitch. Pumps you up, doesn't it? Well, we're almost at the end of DinamoTV, but yes, as we mentioned, the women's and the senior men's, they will be in action this weekend. So good luck to both of those teams. They both will be playing away from home. Now, before we do go, just a little bit of a community notice. In 2 Fridays' time, that's Friday fortnight, if you like, on the 27th of June at the St. Leopold Mandić Croatian Catholic Church in Sunshine, Fitzgerald Road. It is a special, youth mass is the best way to describe it, inviting all 18 to 35-year-olds to join us for mass, held in a mix of both English and Croatian. Please stay for a chat and refreshments in the sala, the hall afterwards. Bring along your siblings, cousins and friends. See you there is the message from organisers. Of course, it's not just purely for the 18 to 35-year-olds, younger brothers, sisters, or parents, grandparents can come along. It is very inviting and in a mix of English and Croatian. And on that note, thank you so much for joining us on DinamoTV this week. And we look forward to having your company again next Wednesday night. We're going to leave you with a couple of beautiful pictures, some beautiful music as well, from the Croatian Folkloric Arts Festival that was held last weekend in Melbourne. Good night. Bye-bye.
One's enough.
Dalmacija,